Hey Easton Park, we're halfway through 2025, so I just wanted to come check in with you guys and do kind of a longer mid-year update, taking a look at the first half of 2025 and how it's going. How does that compare to the past couple of years? And where do we think the market is going from here? I would encourage you to stay tuned to the end of this video because we'll kind of analyze things together at the end once we go through some of the data and just figure out how bad is this market? Is it awful? Are we dying? Is it to be expected for this time period in an economic cycle? Or where are we? So stay tuned through the end of the video. We're gonna go through all the numbers in detail and analyze this together. Before we start, as many of you guys know, I'm kind of the unofficial mayor of Easton Park. I've been in the neighborhood since 2016, so I've seen a lot of changes and a lot of growth and a lot of different dynamics coming through Easton Park over the years. From my perspective, even in any market, it just keeps getting better and better as it gets bigger, as we get more retail into the area, as more rooftops come into the area. We have more and more different parks coming in, and the residents of this neighborhood just continue to be amazing. And I love the sense of community that we have here and the people that we have in this neighborhood. If you guys want to know anything, just Easton Park in general, what is it like to live here? What are my options for homes I can get here? What are the neighbors like? Where do you eat? Where do you grocery shop here? Any of that kind of information, shoot me a text below at that number, 512-589-2894. Let's connect, let's chat. I'd be happy to give you answers to any of the questions that you may have about Easton Park. Okay, so let's dive in. How are things moving and feeling the first half of 2025? Okay, so big changes at the beginning of this year with a new administration coming into power. As you guys know from the news, that new administration has really mixed things up a lot from how things were operating before with tariffs, threats of tariffs, all of that going on plus more. And it's just caused a lot of buyer uncertainty in the market. Especially in cities that tend to be more blue, like Austin. So again, Austin was one of those cities that post-COVID, we had one of the biggest booms in the entire country. I think we were top sellers market, like number 4, number 3, end of 2020, all through 2021, 2022, like multiple offers on everything. It was nuts. We saw 30 to 50% appreciation year over year for a property during that time. Just unheard of spike in our market. So it only makes sense when you go like this. That's a crazy, ridiculous, once in a lifetime real estate market. There's gonna have to be some correction. And now, at this point in 2025, we're sitting here the 4th strongest buyer's market in the nation. Number 1 right now is Miami. So there's a few places in Florida and a few places in Texas that are at the top of the list. I think that's because Florida and Texas had the fewest restrictions during the COVID time period. So a lot of people moving from California or other states where they had really strict COVID restrictions going to Florida and Texas. So we're having a strong correction to that artificial market that we had after COVID. So to be expected, that was a crazy market. Now we have a crazy market the other way because we got to come back down from where we went. So I'm not really that surprised about this, to be honest. For Easton Park specifically, let's add in a third factor. We are competing against new construction. So all the builders are still building. We've got 5,000 plus more homes still left to be built in this neighborhood. So when you have to sell your home resale, you're going to be competing against the builders, and the builders are controlling the prices in this market. Taylor Morrison, for example, they keep dropping their prices. They're making me very angry. They're selling inventory homes for under $200 a square foot oftentimes, and just driving the prices down in the neighborhood as they try to make sales. So let's take a step back again and look at the Austin market as a whole. So let's look at it as a whole just to compare how does that look to what's going on in Easton Park. Okay, so May of 2025, the numbers say for Austin Metro, we had a median sales price of $449,900, average days on market of 57 days. In May, we had almost 15,000 active listings on the market, and that month, a total of $1.78 billion in sales volume. That's May of 2025. Let's look back at May of 2022, right before the market reached its peak and started to go down. At that time, the median sales price was $550,000, so $100,000 more than it is now. Average days on market was 15 days. That's insane. Now we're at 57. We had 4,000 active listings, so we have 11,000 more homes on the market at this time than we did at that time. And the total was $2.48 billion in sale that month, May of 2022. So way higher than $1.78 billion in 2025. So just to put that in perspective, the number of active homes on the market between comparing May of 2022 to May of 2025, which is during our peak real estate season in Austin, the number of active homes has increased by 251%. The median sales price has decreased by 18%, and the average days on market has gone up 280%. So that shows that huge correction. Number of listings going way, way up, days on market going way, way up, and median sales price going way down. So let's bring that back specifically to Easton Park and kind of look at the same numbers. So specifically at the end of June for resale homes only, homes are staying on the market for an average of 58 days, so right on trend with the Austin Metro. Our average sold price per square foot sits at $224.77. If you break out condos versus single family homes, days on market goes up a little bit for condos to 61, and average sold price per square foot goes down to $215. So from $225 essentially to $215, like $10 a square foot less for condos. So how does that compare to mid-year in 2022? The average sold price per square foot was $269.26. Okay, so we're at $225 right now. So that is a substantial decrease from where we were in 2022. Average days on market at that time was 18 days as compared to our 58 right now. So let's break that down. If we had sold a 2,500 square foot house in 2022, it would have sold on average for $672,500 versus now it would only sell for $562,500. So that's $110,000 difference within just a 3-year period. So that's a pretty big deal for values having gone down. But like I said, what's the point of even looking at this? Because the end of 2022 was at the end of the artificial market that we had post-COVID. So that market's gone. That market is never going to exist again. If you sold then, great, but remember, it was very difficult to buy at that time. So now it's easy to buy. You sell for less money, but you're buying for less money as well. So it's a great time to be a buyer, not a great time to be a seller. It's completely flipped from where it was in 2022. And it had to. I mean, there was ridiculous appreciation during that market. A wise colleague of mine once told me a couple of years back that the market was about to undergo a big correction and that our prices would come back down to 2020 prices. At the time, I was like, what? I do not believe you. There's no way that's happening. That's insane. But he was 100% correct. That is what has happened. We have really come back down far to 2021, 2020 numbers on our sales prices. So some of us got really spoiled during that market, and maybe that was the first time we bought a home and we thought like, oh, you buy a home and it just appreciates like crazy over a 3-year period, and that's normal. That has never been normal historically. When you make a real estate purchase, you want to plan to keep the home at least 5 years, ideally 10 years. Real estate appreciates. There's never been a time period in the history of this country where real estate prices haven't increased over a 10-year period. So the market, it doesn't go like this. It doesn't just go up and down in a straight line, right? It goes up and down. It has cycles, but it goes up and down like this on an upward angle over time. You just have to be able to hold your real estate long enough to get from here to here before you sell it and ride out those cycles, right? So we're in a big down cycle right now. If you've only owned your house for a year, 2 years, 3 years, you bought high and you're selling low. So that's unfortunate. I know we have things like people have to move for job transfers, to be near family, all of those reasons why you would leave. But just bear in mind, if you're selling after 1 to 3 years, you could be hitting from a up cycle to a down cycle and be taking a hit. And that's just natural for real estate. It doesn't mean people shouldn't buy and invest in real estate. It just means don't expect in a typical case that you can sell it after 3 years and make your money back. That just historically hasn't been true. We've just had weird markets over the past several years here. So I guess the question to conclude remains, okay, if we're going down and we know what goes down must come up and what goes up must come down, when are you gonna start going up again? That's always the question to ask. I mean, if I had a golden crystal ball, I would be making crazy sales right now, being able to predict that. We don't really know when it's gonna come back up. There's so many factors involved, politically, economically, with the interest rates. I did attend a conference call, a Zoom call with the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors a few weeks ago. And his take is that we are already well overdue for mortgage rates to go down. Inflation has gone down to just over 2%. They want to get it under 2%. So we're almost there with inflation. Unemployment's been going up. There are many signs in our economy that it's time for a change with the affordability of housing. So his chief economist for NAR, his take was that hopefully the interest rates would come down in the second half of this year at some point. If that happens, I do think that that is going to cause an upswing with buyers who have just been waiting for the rates to come down to come back into the market, and hopefully we can move some of this inventory that we have. But again, in Easton Park, it's going to take some time for that to happen because we have 110 homes for sale on the MLS between new construction and resale homes. It's going to take a while for buyers to knock through all that inventory, and new homes will continue coming on and builders will continue building. So there's not going to be any situation in Easton Park where things just shoot up. What I'm hoping to see is rates go down a little bit, we actually have some more buyers looking, some things moving a little bit easier, just some things being able to sell is what I'm looking for. So hopefully we have that coming soon. So, to conclude, I don't know that this real estate market is necessarily like awful and we're all dying. It's natural based on the market that we were in before this market. So I'm hopeful that things will start to trickle back up a little bit at the end of this year, hopefully next year, and that we're not just going to continue to go down, 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 down forever. All right, that's all I got for my mid-year review. You guys know where to find me. If you have any questions, if you want to check out any homes, anything about the market or Easton Park, shoot me a text at my number below and let's connect.